We pick up where we left off in the last part, with our local freight coming out of its stop at Union Pacific's Chickasha offices. The first order of business was to drop the last few cars of the consist on Stillwater Central's connector, presumably to be picked up by SLWC later that day. There's a leaky hatch on one of those hopper cars. It left those little piles of dust on the ties. With the drop-off complete, the train was ready to get on its way north, but the dispatchers still hadn't gotten their track worn out yet. They stopped just north of the junction, and then behind them came some of the other traffic from the yard. This one was a train of open hoppers that would be heading down the branch to Lawton for loading at Richard's Spur Quarry. With clearance to proceed, the engineer didn't waste any time getting up to speed. We jumped north on a county road that took us back up close to Pocasset, and we were still not quite ahead of the train after about 10 miles of driving. Lucky for us, they had to pick up some cars at Pocasset, and so they started slowing down. We used Highway 81's generous speed limits to make up the distance, and we got there just ahead of the train. 4 cars of sand picked up from Halliburton, and they were on their way north again. Of all the shots we got on March 17th, this one was my favorite. For that matter, it was my favorite catch of 2016. North of Pocasset lies the ruling grade of the OKT main, and we positioned ourselves on a bluff for a truly spectacular wide shot of the local battling the incline. We didn't manage any more shots until we were in El Reno. We got there pretty far ahead of our train, but that gave us a few minutes to look around. It sure looks like it at a glance, but this is not a stretch of actual street running trackage. These rails in the street are actually for El Reno's Heritage Express trolley. As the story goes, when Rock Island went under in 1980, the better part of 1,000 people in El Reno were left jobless, and the town began to slowly die without its largest employer. Flood damage also helped to make things worse in the mid-80s, and in order to get help from the state, the city of El Reno had to meet 2 requirements. First, they had to cover 20% of the expenses to make repairs, and second, they had to install a rail-based trolley, of all things. Since we're looking at it today, we know that El Reno got their aid money, and since then, this trolley has become a symbol of the city. It's a testament to the relaxed nature of this line's operations to see something like this so often. It was lunchtime for the crew, and they just parked their train out on the main line, no worries. And it was time for us to go get lunch ourselves. Stick around for the final installment of this series, and we hope we'll see you there.